Hello and welcome to Journey to the East. My name is Joshua Fay, and for the last 10 years, I've had a question that's been bouncing around in my head. Just what the hell was the name of that show? So this all started one day when my dad brought home a DVD box set of a Chinese TV show. This show had everything: action, had romance, heartbreak, and beautiful scenery. Well, my family and I loved this show. Brought us all closer together and gave us a great appreciation for foreign films and TV. Unfortunately, this was a borrowed DVD set, and we had to return it after we had finished watching it. We've never been able to find it again since. But at least once a year, my family discusses it, and we always come back to the same question. Just what the heck is the name? Now, with the memory of that show, nothing more than a faint whisper, I've decided to embark on a quest to find it. So join me as I set out on this journey to the East. Hello and welcome to the final installment of Journey to the East. I've had a blast making these episodes over the past couple weeks, and I can't thank my family enough for humoring me and joining me on this. But today's episode, I've got my brother on the line. He's the last guest. And as you know, he has no idea about any of this. So let's give him a call and see what he has to say. Hey, Ben, how's it going?
What's going on, everybody?
Hey, so as we discussed in the previous episode, Ben missed out on everything that had to do with this show, and I somehow didn't notice that he wasn't around.
That makes me feel super great. Thank you for not noticing my existence.
I just want to ask right off the bat, do you ever remember us talking about this show in the past 10 years?
Not even slightly. Not even in the slightest. You sent that title intro in the group chat with the family, and I was so very confused because literally not 1 second of it rang any bells, and I just saw the wildest East Asian intro outside of an anime intro I have ever seen in my life, and I was like, "What is this? And why is it here?"
I can't believe that you somehow missed out on 10 years of 4 out of 5 of us talking about this show at like every family gathering.
I don't even think there's no way this was around for 10 years in the family.
It's been a huge mystery for all 4 of us, where we're trying to figure out the name of this show to see if we can find it again so we can watch it.
I don't know. I think, like Mom said when we were home at Christmas, I think I was in college already when you guys started it, and I literally never got the update when I came home about it. I'm pretty sure we never watched an episode when I came home. I just like nothing.
Yeah. So I think what happened, and everybody who's listening to this, they already know, but for you, we started watching this show. It was the semester that you first went to college, or thereabouts. It was your first year. And Dad had asked to borrow the DVDs from someone that he worked with. And so I brought him home, and he's just like, "Hey, got this cool Chinese show. Let's sit down and watch an episode." And we sat down, we watched the first episode, and all 4 of us were hooked right away. And in my mind, just because you and I have done everything together growing up, I somehow vividly remember you just like sitting there, and I think I've made memories up in my head of you being like, "Oh, like holy crap, this is a good show." And like somehow like over 10 years I've manufactured these like memories of you also having seen it.
I just like not one. I don't know. I could be wrong. Maybe if I were to watch an episode, something would like click,
Yeah.
and I'd remember it. But honestly, for the life of me, I cannot remember watching it or hearing about it at all. And maybe I just thought it was like the worst thing ever. My brain was like, let's just data dump literally everything about this
Oh, they're gone. Yeah, maybe
and
so.
never think of it again. I just don't know.
Okay, so what did you gather over Christmas? Because I sent that link in the family chat. It was Christmas Eve, and you were still making your way back home, and everybody else was there. So you get this random link in the group me, and you see this weird, crazy Asian intro to a TV show that you probably have never seen in your life, and a message accompanying it saying, "Holy shit, I finally found it."
So it popped up and I was like, it said, I finally found it. And I was like, oh, what has he found? And I watch it. And these dudes are just like, what the, what the, what the, what the, what the, what the, what the? They're like dragons and shit are like flying around everywhere in like the intro. And I was just like, bro, what the fuck is this? What have you found? Should I remember this? I was very confused. I was like, does this need to be triggering a memory? Have I locked it behind the door in my brain and this is the key? But no, I was just very confused. And I was like, what is this?
Mm-hmm.
What is this craziness right now? Are we watching an episode when I get home? We didn't, but I was still just like,
No.
what,
So,
why?
so when you were home for Christmas, did we bring it up again? I forget. Did we ever fill
We
you
kind of
in?
did, and I just sat there and I was just like, what?
Just
And
dumbfounded.
it just dumbfounded. And you guys were all like, yeah, that's so cool. We finally found it, like all this stuff, and I was just like, I'm super happy for you guys. Like, great, you found the thing that you've been searching for, and it's like lost treasure. Hooray! I'm happy that you're happy. I'm lost.
So did you feel like the little kid outside a house, like peering in the window,
I felt like
face pressed up against the glass?
whatever that little cripple kid's name is from A Christmas Carol, looking
Oh,
through the
Tiny
window.
Tim.
Yeah. Look at Tiny Tim looking through at all the happy people, and and just going, damn, dude, my life fucking sucks. I got a bum leg, and and Scrooge like yells at me from his window, and and all these people are enjoying a nice warm meal, and I'm stuck out here with a crippled leg in the cold,
Not knowing what's happening.
not knowing what's going
Yeah.
on.
All right. So let me recall the events of Christmas Eve morning before you arrived. So it's pretty chill morning. I'm sitting down in the living room. Sis is there. Mom's in the kitchen. Dad's by the fireplace. Nothing else going on. Somebody mentions the show again. And I was like, all right, that's it. I'm going to sit down and I'm just going to Google this thing. I don't care how many hours it takes. I'm just going to Google until I can't anymore. And I mentioned on the previous episodes I had also tried this before, but I was determined this time. So I pull out my phone and I'm looking stuff up. I'm pulling up trailers. And then the thing that set it off was Dad mentioned some of the plot, and he said, because I told him, I was like, hey, is this an old show? Like, how old do you think this show is? And he goes, oh, it wasn't that old. It was later 2000s. And I said, what? Because in my mind, for 10 years, I've been watching the show and thought that it was either from like 2002 or earlier, or like 1980s at the earliest. So I was looking in the wrong decades, just wrong everything. So he says, "Oh, I think it's later than it is." I was like, "Holy shit!" Okay. So I go and I Google everything, and turns out that the show, yes, was from 2008, and I found the name of it, and then I found the intro, because that's the other main piece of this. Is I remember one vivid image from the intro is a skull pops up, and then like three holes get blasted from back to front through it with like magical bolts of energy. And so like try Googling that, right?
Excuse me, Google. I would take one skull with three magical holes blasted through the front of it, back to front. Thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely.
Also, 2008 version.
Yeah. So like, what the hell? And then we finally found it. And do you want to know the name of it?
Yes, please. Tell me the name of this TV show that I literally have no recollection of.
It's called The Legend of the Condor Heroes.
It still rings no bells.
Yeah, rings no bells, but it is also known as the Eagle Shooting Heroes, which,
Wait, that's illegal.
yeah, which when we saw it, I think that was the English translation that popped up when we put subtitles on during the intro sequence. At the very end, it was like Legend of the Eagle Heroes, but it popped up as the Eagle Shooting Heroes. And I think that's why I've had such a hard time finding it, because I was looking for the completely different name.
Just literally searching anything and everything that was not
Yeah,
condor or eagle related.
yeah. Like, if you wanted a master class in how not to look for something, I think I hit every single check mark there. But here's the other thing with it is I went through the Wikipedia page of Chinese martial arts TV shows 1983 to present, and I clicked on a bunch of links in there, and there's no plot synopsis for like 75% of them.
No. And they're all in Mandarin, right?
Yeah.
Or Cantonese, one of the
Yeah.
two.
So I was like, how the hell? And then I think I had overlooked this series on there. I was like, Legend of the Condor Heroes doesn't sound at all familiar. Pass. Just skipped it. And
And lo
then
and behold.
lo and behold, it's the thing. And I've got the Wikipedia page here. Guess what it doesn't have?
What?
A plot synopsis.
Of course.
Yeah. It's got cast, it's got soundtrack, and it's got production, and it's got reception.
It doesn't even have an episodes list?
No, it just says that there's 50 episodes.
What the fuck?
So I've gone back and I found the book that it's based on.
Oh my god, I thought you were gonna say you went back and like edited the Wikipedia page.
No, absolutely. I do not have time for that. I barely remember the plot. Between the four of us, we can't remember the plot at all.
So we found a show that everyone remembers. We don't remember what the fuck happens in it.
Yeah. But so you know how we've all started watching The Mandalorian, like
Yeah.
together but separate, and how that brings us like kind of that feeling of like togetherness.
Right.
That's the feeling that we've had watching this show and trying to find it these past 10 years. Same level of things. Like, imagine if we lost The Mandalorian and like we couldn't remember the name and we were just looking up like Space Cowboy.
Space Cowboy with little green friend.
Space Cowboy tries to take his kid somewhere and his vehicle breaks down every episode.
I feel like that would just give birth to just the weirdest things from the darkest corners of the internet.
Right. But, like I was saying, I found the book. And it's from the 1950s. Publication date is 1957. So I'm going to go through this and I'm going to read it, but not too intensely. So the story is set in China during wars between the Jin Empire and the Han Song Empire. There's these two guys, they're sworn brothers, and they pledge that their kids will either become sworn siblings or they'll be married couples if they're opposite sex.
Seems legit.
The place that they're in becomes invaded.
Classic.
One of the guy's wives wanders into Mongolia and gives birth.
Just up and takes a walk one day into Mongolia.
Well, no, like their city got attacked, and so
Oh.
she fled and ended up in Mongolia. And she gave birth to this kid who grows up under the care of Genghis Khan.
Okay.
Then the other wife, she gives birth, but he's taken in by the people that invaded the city.
Oh, so at this point, instead of being sworn brothers or married, they're now going to be sworn enemies.
Right. And so the
Predictable.
guy that grows up in Mongolia, Guaojing, sorry for the pronunciation on that one, everyone. But he starts to learn martial arts from the seven freaks of Jiangnan. He also learns archery, and the novel gets its name, well, the eagle shooting heroes part, because there's an incident when he's young where he shoots two eagles with one arrow.
Legend.
Yeah, they're like, holy shit, this guy knows his stuff. All right, so he shoots two eagles with one arrow. and they're like, "Holy shit, this guy's got it. He's got the stuff." Anyway, so this guy that grew up in Mongolia, like he's super likable, noble, but he's a bit of a dunce, kind of dumb. But he's a likable dummy. On the other hand, the other wife is forced to marry the enemy and gives birth to her son Yang Kang, who is raised by this Jin by the Jin Empire, and he starts learning different martial arts, and he's raised as a Jin noble.
Mm-hmm.
And he also learns the evil Nine Yin White Bone Claw technique,
Intense.
which is what is used to blow the 3 holes in the back of the skull.
Oh my.
Yeah. So the main plot follows the guy from Mongolia and Yang Kang, or sorry, the guy from Mongolia mainly, and he encounters what's known as the 5 greats, or the 5 most powerful martial artists in the martial arts community,
Okay.
and he starts learning all these martial arts. And then Yang Kang is like, I'm all about fucking wealth, fame, glory, and treacherous
Pussy.
evil plots, and also getting badass at martial arts. So throughout the show, like you see them, and they're both like learning all these martial arts, and you're like, oh, holy shit! Like they're both getting really good. The guy from Mongolia helps the Mongols, sorry, conquer the Jin Empire. At at which point they turn their attention to the Song Empire, which is where he's originally from.
Mm.
And he's like, no, fuck this. I'm going to go help my native land. So he leaves and
My
returns.
man just said, nice. We got these guys. Oh, my homeland? Sorry, Genghis.
On the other hand, Yang Kang, still being all evil and shit, tries to kill Guo Jin's lover partner with a palm strike, but ends up hitting her soft spiked armor, which was stained with some poison, and he died.
Oh. That's it? That's how it ends? There's not even an epic, like, martial arts fight?
In the show, there is, yes, but with the plot synopsis from the book that it's loosely based off, some things have definitely changed.
Damn, well, at least the show did better.
Yeah, like in the show, he lives to see his son be born and grow up for a few months, and then he dies afterwards.
Oh, rest in
So
peace.
yeah, and then the book ends when the Mongol invasion of the Song Empire is temporarily halted when Genghis Khan dies. Super good show. I know with that explanation, you're probably like, yeah, what the fuck is this? But going back to the Wikipedia page for the series from 2008, it said it was generally well received in China, despite there being some controversy about them changing different portions of the novel for aesthetic purposes.
Well,
And that's,
naturally.
yeah. And then the show also paints Yang Kang in a more positive light, so you can sympathize with him a bit more.
Oh, so he's not just a giant asshole the whole time?
Yeah, he's not a giant asshole.
Meanwhile, the book's like, hey, fuck this guy.
Yeah, looks like this dude is evil.
Nice.
Yeah, and then they made more drama in the show between Yang Kang and Guo Jin, and then the audience was like, "This is seeming like a soap opera more than a martial arts thing." But that being said, really good.
Did the international audience receive it well, or did they not really get into that?
I do not have that information for the Wikipedia page. Maybe that's what I'll do. I'll just watch the show again and make my own notes on there. The international reception, the Faye family.
International reception by one man.
By 4 out of 5 of a group of a family thought it was really good. One never watched it. This book is super popular in China. Like I'm gonna list off how many different adaptations there are of it.
Oh my!
So films. A film about it came out the next year after it was published, so 1958. So the book was published. People were like, fucking love this shit. Let's make a movie. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 movies from 58 to 94.
Holy.
Television series. First one was in 1976. Then there was an 83 and an 88 one, which I also watched the trailer for those, and I was like, this looks way too old. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There are currently 9 TV adaptations.
9 TV adaptations?
Yeah, we watched the second most recent one. So we watched the 2008 TV series, but there is a TV series that started in 2017.
Wow. Oh, they just rebooted it.
Yeah, they just rebooted it.
That's crazy.
Anyway, I'll probably put in a little bit of audio from the intro to this, or I'll put a link in the description for the intro for it, because it's wild. There's like a guy on a horse, but he's got like a bow behind his back, and he's like shooting at the eagles.
It was crazy, man. That's all I know. It was insane.
It's like one guy shows up into the room. There's like magical, mystical martial arts going on, which last episode we learned was called wuxia. All in all, if I had to give it a rating based on me not being able to remember the plot and still thinking it was pretty good, I would say I would give it a solid 4 out of 5.
Very nice. I am in no position to give it any type of rating.
All right, based on the plot synopsis told by a half mad person who's ecstatic of having found it after 10 years, would you watch it? Yes or no?
After based on the plot synopsis, yeah, I'd watch it. I'm glad that the TV adaptation put in a final martial arts battle between the two and did not just leave it as my man, the one dude trying to kill dude's wife or a girl and just kind of smacking some poison spikes. That's a little bit of a lackluster finish. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I'd give it a shot. It sounds interesting enough.
Yeah, it's great. And one thing that we talked about in the last 2 episodes that Mom and Dad and Sis brought up was, it was like, because of stuff like this, that we have a love of like foreign film. When we were growing up, like, how much did you enjoy when Mom and Dad would be like, hey, we're going to watch a movie that's, in another language, and how has that impacted your viewing habits these days?
When the first time it ever happened, I was like, but why are we doing this? Yeah. And then like we kind of got into it and I was like, all right, tight. Some of these are actually pretty good. Mm-hmm. So now how it's impacted my viewing habits now I will not turn my nose up if I'm on Netflix or something and there's a foreign film that looks somewhat interesting. I'll give it a decent shot and take a look at it. And I've done it with a couple of different films that have been in different languages, and some of them turned out all right.
But and I know we're running kind of over time here, so let's wrap this up a little bit. All in all, the 10-year journey that my brother was never aware of has come to an end.
It's just a background side project that just ran without me.
I know. It's been a background, like, when you have your computer like run like a background process like overnight or something. That's what's been happening for me in my head for 10 years. And I don't know what to do with the free space now. But good news, I'm not crazy, or I am. It doesn't matter at this point.
I mean, some would consider you crazy for just hanging on to this for 10 years and trying to figure out what it is. But when you have that niggling thing, I guess you just got to scratch that itch.
The next thing I'll be doing is trying to track down a copy of the box set of DVDs. And I'm going to watch them all again. It probably won't be as good as I remember it or hyped it up to be.
Or it will just be amazing.
It's true. But either way, I'll let you guys know, and maybe we can all watch them together at some point.
I mean, yeah.
So
then I'll feel like I was included in this journey.
and then we could do a bonus episode afterwards and get your thoughts on it.
Yes.
All right. But that brings us to the end of this episode. Thank you so much for listening to one guy rant about a 10-year-old thing that he watched one time and barely remembers. So until the next thing comes along that I've been working on for a decade, thank you so much for listening to Journey to the East.